Welcome back to the channel. I hope you've been enjoying this tour through the state. Today we're going to be talking about Colorado, which is also called the Centennial State. Now, Colorado is called the Centennial State because they were made a state 100 years after the signing of the Declaration of Independence. So the Declaration of Independence being signed in 1776, July 4th, 1776 to be exact, which is why the United States celebrates Independence Day on July 4th. Anyway, that being said, we have 100 years later, Colorado becomes a state. So it's called the Centennial State. Moving on, let's get some Colorado facts here. The population of Colorado is 5.7 million, which makes it the 21st most populous state in the United States. The capital of Colorado is Denver. It covers an area of 104,094 square miles, which is 269,837 kilometers squared. It was admitted to the United States as a state August 1st, 1876, as I mentioned before, which makes it the 38th state to join the United States. The largest cities in Colorado, the four largest in this case, we have Denver, Colorado Springs, Aurora, and Fort Collins. Those are in order of size. So Denver being the largest, and of these four, Fort Collins being the smallest. But yeah. And Denver, in this case, Denver is the capital of Colorado. So in many cases, as I've mentioned before, the largest city in this case is actually the capital city of the state. That isn't always the case. Some history of Colorado. I recognize that Colorado and all the states have what we would term prehistory, and that history didn't start with the Europeans coming into the state, but I start with the Europeans because that's kind of the start of the history of the that went into forming Colorado into a state. If the Europeans hadn't showed up, something else would have happened. But since they did show up, this is what happened. So anyway, the Spanish were the first to explore and claim the land that would become Colorado. It was explored and claimed by Juan de Oñate, I believe. Don't quote me on that. I don't speak Spanish. I'm guessing on the pronunciation there. He was a Spanish conquistador. The first settlement in Colorado was San Carlos. If you go looking for San Carlos now, though, you won't find it. Well, maybe you will. Maybe I'm not entirely sure on the logistics. The settlement of San Carlos did not succeed as a settlement. It failed, and its ruins, maybe, can be found near what is present-day Pueblo, Colorado. It was established by Juan Bautista de Anza. Yeah. So in 1803, when the United States purchased the land that was the land from France that became the Louisiana Purchase, we started having a little bit of conflict with Spain because the Louisiana Purchase, the French laid claim to part of what is Colorado, and the Spanish also laid claim to that same location. And so there was a little bit of friction there. When the United States purchased Florida in 1819, so this was much later, and obviously if you're familiar with the geography of the United States, you'll know that Florida and Colorado are nowhere near each other. But we're talking about this because when the United States purchased Florida from Spain, they agreed to cede all claims to that conflicted territory. So that territory became indisputably Spain's territory, which then became territory of Mexico when Mexico declared its independence and everything from Spain. So then in between 1848 and 1846, there was the Mexican-American War, and the United States forced Mexico to cede all claims to their northern territories, which meant that the United States claimed that territory, and we divided that land up into 4 separate territories. So we had the territories of New Mexico, Utah, Kansas, and Nebraska. Those were the 4 territories that were made from the land claimed after the the Mexican-American War. Okay, so moving on. There was a gold rush in Colorado as well. This one is a lot less well known than the California gold rush. So California gold rush, as we talked about last time, started in 1849 with the discovery of gold at Sutter's Mill in 1848. So the year before, well, a man named Lewis Ralston, he found gold in Colorado in 1850. There must not have been that much gold that he found because he didn't stick around. He went to California and came back later in 1858, which was when the gold rush really picked up speed in Colorado. So between 1850, when he discovered gold, and 1857, there was a little bit of gold discovered here and there, but not a lot. It wasn't until July of 1857 that any significant amount of gold was found in Colorado. And maybe this is just me, but they found 20 troy ounces of gold, about 622 grams. Now, that's not a very large amount of gold in my opinion, but apparently that really sparked off the gold rush that started the next year in 1858. At that point in time, October 24th, 1859, the territory was organized into the territory of Jefferson. So we may have had a state called Jefferson instead of a state called Colorado. But the United States government, the federal government, didn't like what they were doing, and didn't support the organization of the territory at that particular point in time. And so a few years later, in February 28th, 1861, the territory was reorganized as the territory of Colorado. At that point, it stuck, and then in August 1st, 1876, Colorado was inducted into the United States as the 38th state. Interesting thing about the word Colorado, actually, I think I've got that in the trivia section, so I'll wait on that. Industry of Colorado, it centers around manufacturing, mining, agriculture, and service. The manufacturing industry includes aerospace, defense, homeland security. But then we also have the mining, which, interesting enough, covers sand, gold, gravel, molybdenum, zinc, oil, gas, and precious stones, plus lead and granite. I didn't really know you mined for sand. I thought you just dug it up, but apparently you mine for sand. Anyway, about 50% of the land in Colorado is devoted to agriculture, and the agricultural exports or products of Colorado are cattle, hay, corn, wheat, and dairy. At least those are the 5 big ones. They probably do more. There's probably some soy in there and other stuff, but not a lot. Not necessarily a significant amount. And then in the services industry, tourism makes up the largest portion of the services industry in Colorado. The geography and climate of Colorado, it's got mountains, it's got plains, but most of Colorado is a desert. So even the mountains, even the plains, it's all desert. The climate is, for the most part, cool and dry. It's dry and hot in the summer, and in the winter it's snowy and cold. And that just kind of makes it, in general, throughout the year, it's cool and dry. Colorado is one of the states that I have been to. I haven't been to a lot of the state, mostly the southwest corner. I used to have family that lived in the southwest corner of Colorado, so we would go periodically to that portion of Colorado. Lots of dry desert type environments, very hot in the summer. So personal experience there. In Colorado, the tourism industry, we have skiing. You may have heard of Vail and Aspen. Those are both in Colorado. Very big on the alpine skiing scene. I think it's Vail, Colorado. That's basically the and maybe to a lesser degree Aspen. A lot of celebrities used to go to Vail because it's seen as very upscale, very trendy. I don't know how it is now, but I think a lot of rich people and stuff still have like vacation homes and stuff. If they're going to go skiing, they go to Vail. There are a lot of, if you are interested in the Old West, there's a lot in Colorado to draw you in. They have ghost towns, and now ghost towns just mean that it was a town at one point and then it was abandoned. It's not haunted. It's just everybody up and left for one reason or another. The town was not prosperous enough, didn't draw enough people, didn't keep people coming in, everybody left. So now you have the ghost town. If you haven't heard of that term ghost town before, that's what it means. There may be haunted, there may be ghosts. The ghost towns may be haunted, but that's not why they're called ghost towns. But if you're interested in the Old West, you can go explore these ghost towns. There's a lot of places that have Old West style. They have Old West museums and draws and things, the tourist attractions to draw people who are interested in the Old West. So if that is something that you're interested in, Colorado is the place to be. It's not the only place. There's a lot of Old West style things out in the Western United States. It's one of the things about the Western United States that everybody, oh yeah, the West. Yeah, Old West. If you're interested in Black history, there's also a lot of Black history that went into the Old West. And I don't want to say it's forgotten, but it's definitely overlooked a lot of times. Anyway. If you're interested, whitewater rafting. I enjoy whitewater rafting. I've done it a number of times. There's a bunch of places to do it in Colorado. Obviously, hiking, camping, and fishing. Hunting, hiking, camping, hunting. Fishing is thrown in there too. Food is a big draw for Colorado, especially if you're in the Denver area. Denver being one of the first places in the United States to legalize marijuana, and it's kind of set itself up as a cultural mecca, and so there's a lot of opportunities for foodies, people who like to explore new cuisine and things around the Denver area. Personally, I heard about this restaurant called Bojo's Pizza. I would love to go there. It sounds amazing. They have this pizza that's like 4 pounds and it's stuffed with everything. I just sounds amazing. I really want to try it. If you're interested in surfing, you may want to try dune surfing. There's Great Sand Dunes National Park that has great big giant sand dunes, and you can go out there and go surfing, apparently. That sounds really fun to me. Maybe someday I'll try that as well. Here we go. We're getting into the trivia of Colorado. So Colorado has one professional American football team. They're the Denver Broncos. They have one professional baseball team, which is the Colorado Rockies. They have as well a professional hockey team called the Colorado Avalanche. Their basketball team is called the Denver Nuggets. And now that I understand that there was a gold rush in Colorado, I understand why they're called the Denver Nuggets. Their professional soccer team is the Colorado Rapids. The name of the state, Colorado, means colored red. So that's what I was referring to earlier. A lot of Colorado, about the name of Colorado. Colorado, a lot of the state, a lot of the mountains and things are red sandstone. So Colorado is an appropriate name for this state. It is part of the Four Corners area of the United States. It's the one place in the entire United States where the corners of 4 states meet. the four corners being Utah, Colorado, Arizona, and New Mexico and Arizona. So that's the Four Corners area. In 1976, Colorado turned down the chance to host the Olympics, which is amazing. Everybody, everybody is always talking about how stiff the competition is for the Olympics. Apparently, they were wanting to host the Olympics in Colorado, threw their name in the ring, but the people in the state basically said, no, we don't want to. And Colorado was awarded the chance to host the Olympics, and then they said, sorry, and they turned it down. Colorado has the most microbreweries per capita in the United States. So they also celebrate in Colorado the Mike the Headless Chicken Day. I had to look this one up. I'd heard about this one, but I didn't realize it was the same thing. So in Fruita, Colorado, Mike was a chicken, and his owner was going to prepare him for dinner and chopped his head off. The thing is that that was September 10th, 1945, and 4 years later, Mike died. So yes, you heard that right. Mike's head was chopped off, but he lived for another 4 years after having his head removed. So yes. And then Weld County, Colorado, has the most tornadoes of any county in the United States. Now, that was a surprise for me. I'm more used to hearing about tornadoes in like Florida, Georgia, Louisiana, that area. But apparently Weld, Colorado has more tornadoes than any other county in the United States, which is surprising. Okay, the highest incorporated city in the United States is located in Colorado. It is Leadville. It is 10,430 feet above sea level, which is 3.17 kilometers. The first rodeo, the first rodeo was held at Deer Trail, July 4th, 1869. The cheeseburger, Denver claims that it was invented there. I don't know if it was invented there or not. At least it was trademarked by Louis Ballast in 1835. So it's the first time on record somebody had said, I've made a cheeseburger. So cheeseburger could have been invented somewhere else, but Colorado claims the cheeseburger. The National Western Stock Show is now the largest rodeo, and it's hosted in Denver. There are 96, they call them 14ers, and 14ers are mountains that are over 14,000 feet high, which is 4.26 kilometers. Anyway, 53 of the 14ers, so there's 96 14ers in the United States. 53 of them are located in Colorado. On one side it said 53, on another side it said 58, so I'm not sure which is the correct number, but at least 53 of the 14ers are located. So these mountains that are over 14,000 feet high, they're located in Colorado. Colorado celebrates a day called Frozen Dead Guys Day. Apparently in Nederland, Colorado, a Norwegian man brought his cryogenically frozen grandfather to the town, and now they celebrate this Frozen Dead Guys Day. I don't know. Makes no sense to me. Now, if you've heard of Rocky Mountain oysters, I don't know if you have, don't know if you haven't, but Rocky Mountain oysters, it's kind of a joke here in the United States. They're not actually oysters. They're bull testicles, and they actually do make them and eat them in Colorado. So there you go. Rocky Mountain oysters. That's it for Colorado for today. We may come back and hit these states again and talk about some other stuff, other trivia about the states that maybe set them apart. we may delve into some other like natural, some of the national parks and forests and stuff. But that's it for Colorado for today. Let me know if you have any questions. As always, like, subscribe, put the bell on so you can get notifications, all that other stuff. And have fun.